I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This is the absolute single bestest show in the entire world, the Political Spotlight, episode 318. Episode 318. It will never get any bigger or better than this. This is the absolute show. 318 is like a number of mine, a special number for some reason. Well, it's not for some reason. 318 was my address in Winchester. I lived at 318 South Meridian Street. I don't live there now, but I did live there. And when I very first started broadcasting, folks, I used 318 in like all of my stuff. Matter of fact, if you look, it's my at the end of my personal Kristopher Bilbrey Facebook page. It's Bilbrey 318, or you'll see the Political Spotlight 318, things like that. So, this is a cool episode 318. Yeah, see right there, Kate put it up there, Bilbrey 318. So, it's just kind of a special thing of mine. I didn't even realize it was coming up. So. Here we are. Welcome. Thank you for being here. You people that don't matter. For those of you that listen to you're nobodies, you're nothing special, you suck, no one loves you, I don't care about you, no one cares about you, no one cares about me, we all suck, we barely exist. For those of you that listen to the Kendall and Casey show in the morning, we found out today that we are nobodies. Nobody, everybody, no one cares about us. Kate doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that she said that. She doesn't really care about you. Rob told us all. Rob let us know that we're nobodies. You know that I love you. You know that you guys are great and wonderful. The most intelligent, bestest people in the world that are listening here. What's funny to me is, hey, listen, are you kidding me? If you walked up to me tomorrow and said, hey, would you like to be being broadcast in a radio show that's being listened to by, I don't know, thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions, or like, what, you think I would turn that down? No, I don't want to do that. That would be horrible. Well, hell yeah, I'd want to do it. That'd be awesome. That'd be great. The whole point, I say it every night, begging you guys like I am like a crack whore. Like, but please, please, just give me a fix. Share the show with everyone you know. Please share the show with everyone you know. Hit the like. Get me the algorithms, please, algorithms. I need some more algorithms. You know, it's what we all do on YouTube and the things before that and all that, you know? That's the whole point. Listen, here's the deal, real quick. How many real vampires? How many real vampires are there? None, unless you count Dracula. Hey-o! Keep that Count Dracula bit handy. We got a bit coming up on election night where we might need to pull Count Dracula back out and talk about him in the second half of the show. That is. Hey, look, there's Les C. Cloud. We love you. I don't know if she's saying they love me, she loves me, or he loves me, or whoever that is, or if Les C. Cloud is telling everybody they love you, the audience, you guys. I don't know. Anywho, yeah, so obviously, listen, so it's always a stretch. I hate when people say like, oh, you do this for the clicks and the views, eh? And it's like, no, I mean, yes. No, what do you mean? No, I wish nobody listened. Sometimes I just come up here when in the day and I just pull my microphone down and I just talk into my microphone and do a whole show, hours worth of content by myself with no one watching. Yes, the point is to spread the message, obviously. Like, I want to get the point out. Now, I get it. I understand that really to grow the audience, probably much more than where we're at, I am going to have to at some point be able to balance the local with more national stuff, because obviously we've got some really wonderful people that listen from far off places that know as much about what's going on in downtown Newcastle as someone actually literally living there. And we've got people that know the ins and outs of Muncie and Winchester and Anderson politics more than people who actually live at 1234 Main Street in Muncie. You know what I mean? Like, those people are amazing. But for your everyday average Joe, they don't care what goes on in Muncie. Muncie could not, in their reality, Muncie doesn't exist. So obviously I'm going to have to start, if I want to grow the audience, and that's a thing I think about frequently, because I understand doing that has the potential to alienate some of you. Alpha. So I get it, and that's a tightrope walk that, we have to walk, and I don't do very well at that right now. There's so much going on, and there's so much going on the federal level, obviously. So, there's things we're going to get into it. One of these days it's going to happen. I don't know when. We'll see what happens. But of course, we have a show where, we go on at 9:05, 9:08 if I have to reboot the computer. And, in the first 10 minutes, 30 people are watching on YouTube, and let's see how many people are watching on Facebook. By the end of the episode, 100, 200 people watch on Facebook. 100 or 200 people will watch on X. Last night we had up to, I think, 70 people watching live on Rumble. We're actually starting to really build on Rumble. We had a show the other day where like 82 people were watching on Rumble, whatever it's called, Rumble Live. And by the end of a week, we depends on whatever happens. Like some shows we get several thousand we'll watch. Sometimes it's 200. Sometimes, I get it. I understand. This is not broadcasting live from the Circle in Indianapolis. Obviously, this is a smaller rinky-dink podcast in my mama's basement. The only upstairs basement in the world, I will have you know. That's cooler than anything. I've been live from WLBC. Bite my tongue. I would never go to WLBC. Ugh. I've been live from WIBC 93.1, and they have an amazing view looking out their windows down onto the Circle. But nothing beats the fact that I have to stand up and walk upstairs into my basement studio. That's amazing. So, look, I get it. But also, you got to think a little bit like what this is like. It's like David and Goliath. Rob is punching down. And why is he punching down? Because his boyfriend is running for a political office or something like that. Like today he announced, actually, first of all, I thought like weeks ago he was done talking about this thing with Don. I guess that's not true. I guess he's never going to be done talking about Don. This race is going to be over, and Rob is always going to be butthurt that shit hit the fan for Donald Rainwater. And at the very moment that was happening, Donald Rainwater didn't run to a man who had been his friend for 5 years, and not that he endorsed Braun, but the fact that just 4 days before they had sat in a studio 4 feet from each other, talking for over an hour, laughing, having fun, cutting up, having fun, like they have always had. And then Don's walking out of the studio, and before the door has even swung shut, Rob is now calling his friend a lazy idiot. I wouldn't go back in that studio either until I got an apology, and I might not then either. You got to understand that some things are more important than politics. And he's like, I can put this information out anywhere and it can have the same thing. Rob Kendall has used clips from our show before. So when Donald Rainwater came on our show Wednesday night and answered the questions about why this happened, there was no reason why Kendall couldn't have used those clips Thursday morning. But even better than that, Rainwater appeared on that very station's own afternoon, very successful drive program, the Hammer and Nigel show. Hammer was out, Ethan Hatcher was in, and he answered Rob's, 6 questions. Why didn't Rob use those and be satisfied? It had nothing to do. Today, Rob said some very strange things. First of all, Rob said, it doesn't matter what Don had going on. I don't care about that. I care that he hid from us, that he wouldn't come back in this studio with us. Well, that's just your ego, bud. That's just your ego, brother. That's not anything to do with Don. That's your hang up, bro. Then he said that he knew about all of that stuff back in 2020 when he was emceeing for Don and introducing him places and carrying on and carrying his water for Don, that he knew about all of that. So you know what that means? You know what that makes, Rob? A sellout. Where are Rob's 30 pieces of silver? Because he knew about this stuff, and him being the whoa, big, fancy, only best journalist, political commentator in the world, he didn't think that it was important enough to bring it up to you at the time. He didn't think it was important enough to try and crush Rainwater for and crush private individuals in Rainwater's family for, but it was now. My question is that I can't get Rob to answer is, would you be stumping this hard for Braun if Julie McGuire, I forgot what her name was, Julie McGuire, if she would have won the nominee for lieutenant governor back in November, would you be stumping this hard for Braun right now? And I'm going to tell you the answer is absolutely no, he would not. Now, he also said today, Beckwith doesn't matter. Beckwith, he's the lieutenant governor. You're not voting for the lieutenant governor. You're voting for Braun. Well, that's different than what Rob's been saying for the last three weeks. He's been saying Beckwith. Now today he says it doesn't matter that Beckwith is the second banana. Well, if that's the case, all of you Beckwith supporters, I'm telling you, do not go cast a vote for Braun. Do not vote for Braun. Go vote for Rainwater. If you do not want to vote for Rainwater, leave the vote blank. But don't go in voting for Braun thinking that it has anything to do with Micah Beckwith. Rob today said it didn't have anything to do with Micah Beckwith. And for those of you that haven't been really deep diving in, Braun has been distancing himself from Beckwith since June 15th. More and more and more so every day that we go along. Yeah, they're getting on the bus together. Yeah, they've taken about 3 more pictures than they had. Braun can't stand that dude. He thinks he is a walking gaffe. He's afraid of all of the crazy things that he says. Even when the things that he says, even when there are some of those things that might be based in some specific conservative things. The problem with Beckwith is he is not fighting a fight for state government. He is fighting a federal fight as a candidate for a state government office. We see it at the local level all the time. Candidates on the local level will talk about things at the state level, or they will talk about things at the federal level all the time. And that's pointless. Don't vote for someone that does that because they don't know their job. If Beckwith wanted to run for president, he needed to run for president. But he didn't find some way to kind of run around and be a candidate without truly being a candidate. See, Beckwith didn't. They like to talk about Don being a loser. He's a perennial loser. He's run for office. He threw his hat in the ring, bro. And he put his ass on the line and said, here's who I am. The people can vote. Beckwith said, I don't want a campaign. That's expensive and hard. Let me hit up these delegates. Now, I don't hate the player, hate the game. All more power to him for doing it. And I was happy that he beat Julie. That lasted for 2 weeks until he became as establishment as everyone else. So I've been saying Braun does not want Beckwith. Micah Beckwith has been doing the heavy lifting for Braun while Braun hid. And that is true. I wouldn't even say it's been doing the heavy lifting for Braun. I would say Beckwith has been running his own agenda while Braun has been hiding. And there are some things that Beckwith says that I like. But when we've got a situation where, and don't get it twisted, the crap going on with Beckwith's fiscal situation is nonsense. No one should care about it. Unless we're caring about rainwaters. Because if we're caring about rainwaters, then we have to care about Beckwith's. They have campaigned together every weekend for weeks. Let me go pull this back up. I didn't get to see all this. For weeks. I sat next to them on the bus tour. I vehemently disagree with you. They do like and respect each other. Listen to me. That's cool that they've had a couple. Listen, when you're campaigning, specifically when you're campaigning for a governor, a state race, you got to do a lot more than a couple of weekend tours. Listen, I talked to Beckwith right here on this program a week and a half ago. And what he said was, we are starting the bus tour this weekend. And I asked him, have you been doing things with Braun? And he said, no. I have not been doing things. We have not been doing things. I said, how often do you talk to him? And he's like, well, every 4 or 5 days. And it's more our teams talking to each other. Listen, Joni, I do not think badly of you. I do not think ill of you. I understand. I am in the same boat. You're probably a religious. I don't know anything about you. Tell me if I'm wrong. You're probably a Christian, conservative. You're tired of seeing things that are going on in Indiana. You're mad about the politics in Indiana. You're tired of what we've got. You're mad at Holcomb and everything that we've got going on. I don't know where you live or anything about you. You probably are fed up with what's happening in your local politics. You're probably fed up with what's happening at the state politics. You can't be happy with what's going on nationally. And I'm right there with you. And you probably supported Beckwith during his run, when he was reaching out to all of the delegates. Hell, you might have been a delegate. I don't know. I did everything that you were just talking about. But there is a bigger picture at play here. And that is, he gets the nominee, and then he immediately buddies up with the HRCC, which is a political PAC ran by the deepest, most entrenched political establishment within state Republican politics. he starts palling around with JD Prescott. And I'm not going to spend a whole long time on this because we did it. You can go back and watch the episode where we talked about it. But right here is the whole shit show for JD. JD, listen, I understand where Beckwith is with JD. Beckwith likes him because he's a strong Christian man. I will not talk about Prescott's faith. That's for someone of a much higher authority than me. I will not get into the discussion of Prescott's faith. I question, personally, I have some questions. I feel like he's maybe a little bit more religious than he is Christian, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not the judge of that. I'll let the judge be the judge of that. But I do know he's not a conservative, and I can definitely talk about his conservative ability. And whether he calls himself a conservative or not, I know he's not a constitutionalist. I know that JD, as a Republican quote unquote conservative, I know that he was the only representative in Indiana to vote against Indiana tax breaks for disabled veterans. What? Why would you vote against tax breaks for disabled veterans? Okay. He proposed legislation that would force registration and taxation of personal property that disproportionately affects rural communities like where he's the representative of. I don't know where you live. Chances are you might live in a rural community. He proposed legislation that would force registration and taxation of personal property that disproportionately affects rural communities. He voted for unconstitutional red flag laws, which allows the confiscation of firearms without a trial, with no due process. He refused to vote for an amendment that would prohibit COVID vaccine mandates. He voted for a bill which permits local governments to violate the state constitution by raising property tax above constitutional limits. He voted on a bill and he pushed the bill. He was the author of a bill that would violate your First Amendment right when going to redress your government in a local city or town or county government meeting, going to your city council, your county commissioners, going to the state house. They're fine with violating your rights there. Don't even get me started on where he is with abortion. All right. Voted against term limits for career politicians. He wanted to cut taxes for his family, but not for average Hoosiers. And this is Prescott's life in his 6 years in the state house. This has been his legacy. And this is Beckwith's bestest friend. This is who he thinks there should be hundreds of. This is who he compares to D-Day soldiers. D-Day soldiers. So what's funny to me, and this isn't even about Beckwith. This is me thinking it's funny that we've got somebody that's. I'm a podcast in a house, man. There's clothing in this closet back here. You know what I mean? Like this is an office that I'm setting in. This is not a radio station on the circle. I'm not twisted or confused about who I am. I don't believe I'm coming to you live from behind the golden microphone with half my brain tied behind my back. I'm aware, man. It's great. I serve a purpose. One day, hopefully, we'll be bigger. We're on a march there. It's a process. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about the people that you're on this magical mystery tour with. All right. That's what's going on here. Yeah, right. Well, and here's the thing. Rob is now going after others. Like he's going after his friend Abdul Hakim Shabazz, someone that Rob has been friends with for years. He's now a joke because he dares to question Beckwith. And you know, it's comical to me. It's comical. I want to let you guys hear something here real quick. Let me pull this up here. Okay. Yeah. Here it is. Okay. I want you to listen to this. Absolutely, Thor. And I'll even take a step further than that. It's your job to question, and it's my job to question the people that are bringing you the information. Don't just take my word for it. Look into what I'm telling you. Do your own research. Don't just take Rob's word for it. Don't just take Abdul's word for it. Don't just take in MSNBC or Fox News or CNN or News Nation or whatever. You know, don't do that. Do the research for yourself. Tonight's episode is called Totally Literally. Totally Literally. And the reason I called it that was people are going crazy, totally literally. Totally crazy, literally crazy. People are going insane and doing the wrong things. And everybody is absolutely, I do not understand. Everyone is rushing to the streets to say, look at me. They're not doing the thing that's in our theme, the intro to the show. They're not going to the window and saying, I'm mad as hell and I can't take it anymore. And therefore I'm getting informed and I'm getting involved. They're running to the streets and saying, look at me. I'm a low information voter. Blah, 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 blah. And they're acting crazy and they're putting it on TikTok and they're doing crazy shit. And they're acting like fools. And everybody's losing their damn minds. The elected officials, the appointed officials, the employees, the voters, the candidates, and everyone in between. I think that everybody's losing their mind. We're not just talking about this. We're almost done with this. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that sign theft in Vigo County. I've got some more information, and it's insane. It'll blow your mind. It should make you mad. I've got some local information here in Delaware County to talk about. So we're going to talk about examples of people just completely being outside of their gourd. Okay. So hang with me. It's going to get interesting. We're going to talk about some really interesting stuff here tonight. Yeah, you were great, Chris. They aren't even low information. I'm pretty sure that there's something is wrong with them. Yeah, it's like no information voters. live from the upstairs basement, inside the cupboard, under the stairs. Bang! That, my friend Joe Black, if you don't mind, is something that I might just steal from you. That is beautifully worded, my friend. I freaking love that. And I've been attempting to find something that's like a fine wine, like a real nicely packed applewood cigar, or just a really nice Cuban, and that curl of smoke rolls up, and that, my friend, is it. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to steal that from you and not give you any credit for it. And we're going to take off and talk to millions, be bigger than Rob. And I'm going to be like, yeah, I invented that when I was sitting at home, when I forget all about you and don't tell anybody about you. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So thank you for that, my friend. I will never forget you. Okay, let's see here. There's some like people on here for the first time tonight, and they're like, this dude's even more insane than Rob. Like, he's more of an egomaniac than Rob is. All right, here we go. Listen to this, folks. I want you to listen to this. This is comedy.
And yet they're still forced to consume your content. Like, I don't know. There's reasons some people have 40 people listening on their podcast, and we have tens of thousands because, well, we get to things when we want to get to them, and we talk about them when we want to. And then some people just sit. They just sit in the YouTube and like, why aren't you getting to the thing that I want you to talk about? Why aren't you talking about the thing I want you to talk about? What, like you hide in the YouTube chat for a couple hours, and then as soon as we tease something just for fun to see if you'll come out, and then you sit there for a whole segment going, why aren't you going to talk about the thing that I want you to talk about, Casey? It's just like little mice to the cheese trap.
Is something like that happening right now?
We'll talk about Micah coming up next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
I love it. That was old Rob talking about yours truly, because I was in his live chat today on YouTube, and here's the thing. I was there, and I was commenting along with everyone else in the comment. Rob, you've been talking about getting to this Micah controversy now for like 2 hours. Let's get to it, bro. Let's get to it. And that apparently pissed him off. And at one point he's talking about Taylor Swift. And then another time he was talking about Beyonce. And finally, when he started talking about Beyonce, I was like, whoa, am I having a stroke? Am I having a stroke here? I thought we were talking about Beckwith. Did you just say Beyonce? What's Beyonce got to do with this? Is Beyonce running for lieutenant governor? I don't know. So he didn't like that people were quite. It wasn't just me, man. It was people that have less viewers than me. I love it. I love Rob. Rob is a nut job, man. I'm telling you. And when I say I love Rob, I mean like I did. We were cool, but I really listen. Loyalty is important to me. I've had political folks that I have supported and then not been okay with, and I'm okay with being a friend with somebody and not supporting them politically. I would be fine with that. If there was a reason that I needed to separate from Don, like I would legitimately do it. I wouldn't just totally trash him just to trash him, just being an asshole. You know, it is what it is. All right. I'm done with that. It's very interesting. The bottom line is, and Kate said it, producer Kate, Secretary Kate, do nothing Kate, just somebody that sits there and watches that does nothing. neither one of us do anything. Neither one of us are worth a damn. Various people ask, we'll tell you. I promise. At least two of them, Rob and a family member maybe. But besides that, the thing is, what I don't get is this is all because Rob is mad that Rainwater came here first and gave his statement on what was going on. And that's not even my words anymore. That's not Kate's words. Rob said it today on the show. I'm not bothered by his past. I'm bothered because we wanted to ask him the questions and we wanted him to come here, and he chose not to. He came here to complete nobodies. Rainwater talked to nobodies. And let me tell you this, folks. I've routinely said, I'm nobody. I'm a citizen. I'm a political junkie. I'm somebody that wants people to be involved. Anyone could do this. You could do it. You just have to be willing to go to the meetings and ask questions and talk to people and get information and be around and be right in what you say enough that people start giving you a little bit more credit and you have sources that'll talk to you. I didn't go to broadcast school. I'm not a journalist. I'm not trying to be Walter Cronkite. You know what I mean? I think it'd be much better to be like a smarter Joe Rogan. Sit around, smoke pot.
No, come on, be honest. You want to be Rob Kendall.
I want to be Rob Kendall. I do want to be Rob Kendall. I'm supporting Donald Rainwater because of his policies. I'm not supporting Micah Beckwith because Braun's policies suck. I know and like Micah, but he isn't running for governor. Thor, that is spot on. I mean, let me tell you. One of the things that Rob says, and he's right when he says this, and at one point he believed it, and now I don't know what he believes anymore because I've seen him sell out too much here lately. So I don't truly know. I think it's all an act now. They're all politicians and they all suck, and I don't like any of them. That is a true statement. But what you've got to look at is it's like a better than what's currently going on. So right now, I'm getting I like what I'm seeing out of Holcomb, like maybe 2% of it. So as long as someone can do better than 2%, that's a win for me. Braun going in, I'm not sure. He might be tied with Holcomb. He might even be worse than Holcomb. He might. Oh, yes, Joe, another win for Joe Black. He might even be worse than Holcomb. But let me tell you what I do know. I know that Rainwater, while I don't agree with every single thing that he says, I don't. I do know that what I hear, what I see, and what I get from him is already loads better than what I'm hearing or seeing or getting from Braun and what I'm hearing, seeing, or getting from Holcomb. I would say that Rainwater, as beyond not being governor right now, is like at the 40 or 50 percentile. Now, he could go a lot higher. He might go lower. But damn, if I'm getting more than 2% from him, he's blowing them out of the water. I know Braun voted for the largest tax hike in Indiana history. I know he voted for this stupid gas tax to keep going up. I know my pocket gets raided because of his votes. Ding, 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 ding. Man, we are throwing out some serious spitting out truth tonight. And that, my friends, is producer Kate. And that's why she's here getting paid the big bucks. Because that is a true statement, my friends. I know Braun voted for the largest tax hike in Indiana history. I know he voted for the stupid gas tax to keep going up and up and up. And I know my pocket gets raided because of his votes. And she wants a raise. Well, we better hope that Rainwater wins. But the problem is, do enough people have the information to cast educated votes? Well, that's the other thing. So getting off of this Beckwith, Braun, Rainwater, Kindle topic, before we move into what's happening with Larry here in a minute, I want to talk about the situation, ladies and gentlemen, going on in Vigo County. So I know last night we had a lot of information that we packed in to like a 2-hour and 20-minute show last night. Last night really probably should have been more like a 4-hour show, and we would have been able to do it right, but people drop off and leave at that point, you know what I mean? And I get it. I understand it. I don't hold anything against anyone for doing that. Like I understand why people do that. It's late. It is what it is. The thing is, towards the end of last night's show, we talked about the situation in Vigo County, and for everyone that lives in Indiana, that maybe you're not familiar with, like most people only know about Vigo County because of severe weather alerts and tornado warnings and watches, because like Vigo, I don't care where you're at. It seems like Vigo County is in the north, and it's in the south, and it's in the east, and it's in the west, and it's in the middle. And it's because I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where you're talking. Vigo County is always one of the counties listed. Like whatever the deal is, they're going to try to blow Vigo County off the map because they are always under the gun for severe weather. So Vigo County is, it's southish. It's more south than us, and it's on the west side of the state. It's like the most west that you can go before you get to Illinois. And it's like Terre Haute. Vigo County is Terre Haute. That's the county seat there. So that's what you do. It's not a very big county. Vigo County is on the western border of the U.S. state of Indiana. According to the 2020 census, it had a population. Well, damn, I lied. All right, crazy. It's a smallish county, but it's got more. No, I don't know if that's right or not. Wait a minute. I can't remember all of the sudden if. I want to make sure that I'm not saying the wrong things here, because that would make me look foolish. Okay, no. So it does trail Delaware County which for those of you that don't know, I'm in Delaware County, which is East Central Indiana. Vigo County is like mid south mid state on the west side.
The county seat is Terre Haute.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did I say that? Okay.
Most people know where Terre Haute is.
Okay. Yeah, I guess then I started to think I didn't say that. I started to think I was saying something else, but Terre Haute. So for those of you that don't know, there's 106,000 people that live there. So it's, a little bit smaller than Delaware County, not much. And they have a situation there where, so first and foremost, it's important to know they have vote centers. So for those of you that don't know what vote centers are, instead of going to each little precinct, instead of being 100 precincts in the county, there are instead 60 vote centers. And you can go to the vote center and vote closest to you, or you can go to the vote center furthest away from you. You can go and vote wherever you want in the county. You just go in and you give them your name and your address. This makes sense. I don't know why it wouldn't always be like this. Madison County is you see this. I love it. Oh, God. My real fake name, thank you. Hit the like before you leave. Share the show. So, can you vote at all of them? Yes, Alva. No, sir. Unfortunately not. You can only vote at one of them if you go in and vote at one. And if you attempt to go to vote at another, it will not let you. I looked into that in Randolph County and actually attempted it and it wouldn't let me. So, no, I mean, I didn't attempt to do it. I asked what would happen. And the person said, well, let's see. And so they showed me. And so we weren't trying to cheat by any stretch of the imagination. We were doing a test. And so, yeah, you can't do that. Now I imagine, well, I won't say that, but yeah, no, I wasn't able to. So we'll put it like that. Well, I was trying to think. So here in Delaware County, we don't have this yet. We need to get vote centers. I've been a very big supporter of vote centers. We don't have this yet. We're trying. It is what it is. We just have to keep plugging away until we get it, I guess. So what we do here is we still have the precincts, and most of these precincts are in churches. They used to be in schools, but because of school security and because of the upswing in school things like that, they said, maybe we don't want to have people just walking in and out of school. And people are like, yeah, that doesn't sound like it's too smart of an idea. So they pulled them out of the schools and they've put them in a lot of churches and a lot of public buildings, government owned buildings like the county highway garage and, just things like that. And so when on election day, you go and candidates put their signs out in the yard and you can see them and they have to be so far away from the door, and you can go or you can send a campaign person to go and electioneer as people are walking in the door, greet, hey, I'd like to ask for your vote for, da-da-da-da-da for da-da-da-da-da office. And, it's been a thing. Well, a candidate, this was first published at Indie Politics, and we talked about this yesterday. A candidate was going and putting up signs for himself, who he was running for U.S. Congress, and Donald Rainwater, who was running for governor. So this person was obviously a libertarian. And what he noticed, where he was at, was a union hall. It was a place where union members would meet and do their business. So throughout the year, it's a private building, but they've contracted with the county to do these vote centers, to do one of the vote centers there, which means they're getting paid tax dollars. They're getting paid tax dollars to be open and allow people to come vote early. And there, because it's like not in the way, they allow people to put signs there. Well, it happens to fall on an area where there is a pretty important road running like north and south. And then right by the entrance, there's an important road running east and west. So this candidate put out 2 of his signs, north and south, east and west, and 2 rainwater signs, north and south and east and west. And he put them out. So you got 4 signs. One day he goes and he plants 4 signs. 4. And the next day he drives by and those 4 signs are gone. Okay. Interesting. So he gets out and he plants 4 more signs. Now, granted, he called and asked for permission from somebody in there, even though I don't think that he needed to, because the other candidates had signs there, and it's considered an early voting place. And so therefore, everyone's got signs there. That's one place that you can plant signs really without asking. And so he planted 4 more signs, and lo and behold, the next day he drove by and those 4 were gone. So now those are 8 signs. He then planted 4 more signs. So now we're up to 12. So it's in, groupings of 4, 4, 4, 4. 4 times 3 is 12. At least in my math. Okay. And this time he got a little smarter. He had asked another candidate that was a friend of his if he could attach a trail camera. This is genius. Stay here, Thor, and listen to what I'm getting ready to tell you. You're going to be so mad about what you're getting ready to hear, and everybody else should be too. This is going to piss everyone off, as it should. So he asked a fellow Republican, a fellow candidate that happened to be a Republican that he is on good terms with, if he could attach a trail cam to the pole of his sign to point out to his sign, which is genius. And that Republican said, sure, yeah, that's fine. So he did it. And lo and behold, just a couple of hours go by, and he gets a notification that he's got activity. He also had attached in some form an air tag to the sign. And so when he got there, the first thing that he noticed was the air tag hadn't moved. It hadn't pinged off any other tower. So it was still close. The caller is coming from inside the house type of thing. And he got there and he looked at the trail cam, and yep, sure enough, there's a person wearing some clothing and looking a certain way. And this person looks to be a male subject, and he's removing these signs. So the candidate calls and makes a police report. Look, that's theft. It's conversion. We all know it. You cannot touch signs, yada, yada, yada. So he starts to plant another 4 signs. But before he does it, he thinks, maybe I need to try to look for these. So he goes and he finds that he's looking for a trash dumpster on the property. And somehow he runs into the person that is wearing the same type of clothing as in his picture. So from Abdul's article, okay, I'm just going to read you again, for just briefly, for those people that did not hear last night's. I know it was late, and so I just want to make sure that you're aware. This came out yesterday, okay, and listen to how this starts out. The head of the local IBEW union in Vigo County has admitted to stealing libertarian yard signs. On October 26th, the 8th Congressional District Libertarian candidate, K. Richard Fitzloff, noticed that both his signs and those for Donald Rainwater were again missing from the vote center. Noting that this was not the first time the signs had been stolen, he developed a way to figure out who it was, which we talked about this. Once he figured out what had happened, and he figured out that it was, in fact, the IBEW Local 725 Union person, Jim Fellows, that had done this, he contacted the sheriff's office and requested a theft report. And basically what happened is he requested that charges be filed against Mr. Fellows. Well, what happened was Mr. Fellows acknowledged that he had taken the signs from the vote centers and that he had received permission from the county clerk's office to remove any signs that he wanted and he would return the signs to Fitzloff and Rainwater. The issue here is that the vote center is also the union hall and is private property. The IBEW can decide to not allow political signs or campaigning on their property, even though they are acting as a public location for voting. However, since the IBEW is allowing signs from other political parties and candidates, they forfeit the right to restrict signs. So I know that that's written kind of strange, but let me be clear here. What Abdul was saying was, if they don't allow any signs, they can say, no, we're not allowing any signs on the property. I know that we're a vote center, but we are no signs. They can do that. They can do that. But as long as they are allowing a sign of one candidate's, everyone's like, yeah, they've got to allow everybody's sign. So basically what happened is when this came out, the police said, well, listen, this is a little outside of our, normal everyday stuff. We want to get a little bit further information on this. And this happened obviously on the weekend. So people wanted to be able to talk to the clerk's office there in Vigo County to see if the clerk's office actually said that. They wanted to be able to talk to the election commission. And so calls were made. And let me tell you, from what I've heard from sources in media, this was a story that was being picked up by media around the state after Indie Politics had covered this. And they were wanting to talk with either Rainwater or this Fitzloff, or they were wanting to talk with Evan McMahon, the chair of the Libertarian Party. And, it could possibly land this Jim Fellows or whatever, in criminal trouble. Well, let me tell you what happened when I contacted the Indiana Secretary of State's Office Election Division today. I was told that the dual partisan, so there's a Republican and a Democrat team of lawyers, so you don't have one giving, information without the other. Now, there was no libertarian. It's just a Republican and a Democrat. I was told, no, it does not matter that that place is getting tax dollars to contract as a vote center, that this man can remove any sign that he wants to during early voting on election day, and there is nothing that can be done about it. The police cannot charge him. The prosecutor's office would not be legally right to the police should not arrest him. The prosecutor's office would not be legally right in charging him, and he is not committing a crime. And that, my friends, is the Republican and Democrat at the Indiana Secretary of State's office election division coming down with that. Now, let me go a step further here. I am now hearing from reaching out to sources in this area that the media is now saying, we're not talking about this. We don't want to cover it. We're not talking about this. And it's going so far as it's like they're being told by higher ups, we're not getting involved with this. Do not get involved with this. Now, let me be clear. The IBEW as a union has given monetary donations to the Harris Walls campaign. Now we're stretching ourselves into even more of a strange situation. Not only is this a private company, a private building, private property, not only are they getting tax. So understand this for a moment. They're getting tax dollars from Vigo County to operate this vote center. They, as a union, have donated to the Harris Walls campaign. If they've given money to the Harris Walls campaign, first of all, I do not believe that they should be able to be a vote center, period. That's the thing. I don't know what Vigo County is doing. That is insane. Secondly, though, going back to whoever said it earlier up there, Thor said, "Isn't this, interference with vote, voter interference?" Let me ask you a question. What have we been hearing from the Democrats, from those on the left, for the last 5 years? There is no such thing as voter interference. It's all safe. It's all secure. Nothing is going on. Why in the absolute hell somebody would want to open this door and start this madness is beyond me. This is completely nuts. If this is the case, then all elections must be held on properties that agree to keep all signs. Well, absolutely. I mean, number one, they need to. First of all, I think that they need to forfeit their money. This place needs to not get money, or not get any more money. And I had heard that prior to all of this, that the gentleman said, "I'm going to continue removing signs anytime a libertarian sign is put there. I'm going to remove it." So, this is really concerning that we have a location that is being used as what should be a safe and fair and unbiased vote center. It should be a place for Republicans to feel safe, Democrats to feel safe, Libertarians to feel safe, Green Party, Independent, Constitutional Party, the Whig Party, the taxes are too damn high party, spaghetti monster party, whatever party that there is, voters and citizens from those parties should feel safe, sound, and secure. If the state leases property for an event, then the state, not the property owner, controls the signage. For the duration of that event, yeah, absolutely. But that is not what these people are being told now. So, I don't know what Abdul, if Abdul's going to run another piece on this or not. He doesn't normally shy away from things like, the mainstream media does. Hopefully he runs another piece on it. I'm going to send this to him. I'm going to make sure he's aware of this. This would piss me off if I lived in Vigo County. And I don't care. It would piss me off if I was if I were a Republican, I would be mad. If I were a Democrat, I would be mad. If I, being a constitutionally, based libertarian / conservative, if this was a Republican conservative guy doing this and pulling up Jennifer McCormick signs or pulling up Harris wall signs, I would be mad. I would be mad at that. So I don't know. I think it's interesting, and I hate that they've got this. I don't know what fight on their hands, but the issue is this needs to be dealt with. And if we have people at the Secretary of State's office that this is the way they go, this just proves that elections have consequences. And it's one more thing in a vast line of proof. And this is just so insane to me. Again, totally, literally insane. I think only American citizens should vote. Yeah, I'm there. I'm there. So yeah, I don't know. I wanted to definitely talk about this because we did talk about that last night, and I did receive that, and I think that's a big deal. It should be seen as a big deal because of what's happening. Now, moving on from there, I wonder if there is a on-street parking in front of the Union Hall where you could park a pickup truck with a 4x8 sign in it. That's hilarious. From what I gather, no, it's kind of like on a busy highway-ish type of area. But that's pretty funny. So I want to show you guys this one other thing before we get into some local shenanigans here. This is going on, and it's really strange. This has been put out, and I just think it's nuts. I think it's nuts because of when it's happening. So On Monday before the election, Micah Beckwith is actually going to be in Muncie, in Delaware County, doing a campaign event from 4 until 5 p.m. He will be at the Muncie Public the Muncie Public Kennedy Library. So he'll be at the Kennedy Library, which is on McGalliard, for those interested in attending. I am definitely going to attend. There's a council meeting that evening, but I will definitely be attending because I want to. Hold on. Someone's texting me. No. Catherine, if you're still watching, no, that needs to be reported. Let me tell you something, folks. Let me get this off the screen. Screw this for a minute. This is why I said I called this totally literally insane what is happening right now. Can I share this without saying names and stuff? Can I just say what this is, Catherine? Like, I won't say the name or anything, but can I just share what is on here? Like by reading it? Okay. So Catherine sends me this thing. Dr. Catherine, one of our corresponding whatever she is. One of our contagious contestants. Anyways, contributing correspondent. That's who she is. She says, someone sent her this shot that's in Madison County News group, and it says, if you plan on going to Crossroads Methodist Church to vote early, they shut down the outside line at 5:48 and would not let anyone else in. Now, listen. Every county does this a little bit differently. In Delaware County, we only have one place to vote early, and that is the Delaware County building. The Delaware County building is the only place where you can vote early. There aren't like 4, 5, 6 other places out here doing it. What that means is early voting in Delaware County lasts from 8:30 in the morning until 4 p.m. in the evening, because that's when the building shuts down and people go home. So our early voting in Delaware County doesn't start at 6 a.m. and end at 6 p.m. That just does not happen. All right. On election day, everything is from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. And I've always said, if you get there and they give you grief, call us, call me, and we will figure out a way to deal with it. We'll call the clerk's office. We'll call the Secretary of State's office. We'll call the news. I'll come record it. We will make these people famous for doing the wrong things. But folks, this goes for early voting too. For example, Delaware County's early voting starts at 8:30 and it ends at 4. If for some unknown reason they were trying to shut that down 15 minutes early, I would go crazy about that. Well, that's the same thing here. I have many more complaints. Send me the more complaints. So this says that if you're going there, so I don't know how long early voting is open there. I don't know. Catherine, do you know anything about this? Is it open from 6 to 6 early voting? Because if it is, they're screwing up. They cannot be shutting it down before the deadline. What they've got to do is, listen, imagine if there's no one in line and you're driving your vehicle to go vote. And right before you pull in, 30 people jump right in line. And that line is hanging out the door. And you pull in at 5 till. So you've got, 4 minutes to get up there. If you jump there and you're there before 6 o'clock, you're good to go. At 6 p.m., someone from inside comes outside and stands at the end of the line at 6 p.m. And anybody in front of that person can vote. Anybody that would come after cannot vote.
Check your messages. I just sent you the link for the vote center information.
I was wondering if you knew the answer to this question. My mother and I went to vote today. When my mother and I voted in the primary election, we went to a church and told them I was going to help her, and they said that was fine, and nobody had me fill out a form or anything. They just let us go. They let us go do our thing, and I helped my mom. Well, today, when we went to vote, we went to the UAW off Madison, and of course, as with any voting place right now, you had to stand in a long line. So when it gets to our turn, I told the lady that I wanted my mom and I to go to a voting machine together or next to each other because I was going to help her. She said that if you're going to help someone, that we had to wait over in this other area for another lady to come over because we were going to have to fill out forms out for that. My mom didn't want to do that because she was afraid we would have to wait a while. Plus, it was almost like we had to get out of line to do it, and she didn't know if they were going to make us get back in a big line again to wait there after we filled it out. And there was something else going on. There wasn't much in the room. She was almost having to run into people. There wasn't much room to get around. She said, never mind, don't help me, let's just go. Well, I was mad because I was like, no, Mom, because I don't believe this is right. But it was a frustrating situation, the way they had these things set up, trying to get around these. So she was like, no, let's just go ahead and vote. Well, the lady ended up sticking my mom and I next to each other anyways, and she walked away. So I was able to holler stuff at Mom and help her anyway. But that's just because the lady walked away. If she would have been standing there, she probably would have told us no, which, okay, whatever. So it ended up working out for us. But I was just curious, do you know if that's actually a law or true if you have to fill out forms if someone is going to help someone? Because if not, I think that's crap that they're telling people that, because it's frustrating to people that have already have issues anyway and have to stand in long lines, and then they get up there and need help and they want them to wait longer while they fill out a form. it's not that it's that big of a deal because we got it all worked out. But I know that they are lying about different things at some of the voting sites. So I was just curious if you knew whether that's the truth or a lie. Now, I will tell you, you have to fill out a form if you're going to help somebody. If you're going to help someone, you do have to fill out a form. However, you should be able to fill out that form as you wait. If maybe you get someone's attention and tell them that, maybe they could bring it to you ahead of time. So you're like killing two birds with one stone. You know, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but you do have to do that. But they should give you no grief about that. They should just help you fill it out and be done. It should be easy. That is no big deal. It should not be a problem. Okay. Let's look at this picture here. Okay. Here is, so we looked at, all right, I want you guys to look at some of this because we looked at some of this yesterday, but I want you guys to look at this again because this is big, folks. When I'm telling you that Indiana is turning up and turning out, this is what I want people to understand. Look at this. That's amazing. This line, dude. I love it. I love it. This is today at the Pendleton Library. Man, I'm telling you, that is amazing. I love seeing it. That. Oh, man. Okay. What about this? What is this? Is this the same place? Oh, is this the UAW hall? Yeah. This must be the UAW hall. Well, let me tell you. I don't believe that they should cause anyone, I mean, especially if you're an elderly person or you've got issues, man, I've got a real problem with that. Then the printers went down. Well, of course they did that. Of course they did. That's just a thing that happens. Okay, look at this. Look at this. This is a biggie. Okay. Let me get to the next section here. This is something that people need to be aware of. And folks, I'm going to tell you, look, there are issues that come up because we're people. People are people, and they're prone to accidents. They're prone to mistakes. People are dumb. And it seems like government people are like the dumbest of the dumb. So understand that accidents may happen and things might happen, but you need to keep track of them. If you're there early voting, call someone, call the clerk's office. If you know Catherine's number, call her, call me, call someone and explain so we can try to figure that out. Don't just leave. Don't just get frustrated, because I'm afraid sometimes that's what they're hoping. They're hoping to play so many games and make it so convoluted that people leave and just say, to hell with this, I'm not doing this. Do not do that, all right? So look at this. This is a problem, folks. This is, again, totally and literally insane, but we can fight back against it, all right? This, I know it's going to be hard for you to see or read, but you'll be able to hear this. Attention, and this says Madison County voters, but this is for everybody. This says, there were printing issues at the Union Hall just a little bit ago. Sorry. So voters were being transferred to another poll. Please make sure when you print out your ballot, you have 2 initials. Otherwise, the ticket will not be counted. It is very important. Wherever you're voting, whatever the situation, while voting processes may be different, and the information, the pieces of paper, the sheets, the various things that we get might look different. There are only 5 voting machines in all of Indiana. That means there's 5 different vendors that the various 92 counties can choose from. And so within those 5, state law still applies to all 5. So, for example, like on this ballot, you see there's the 2 initials. If there was only one set of initials, that would be a problem. All right. So make sure that all of your stuff is set. I also want you guys to look at this. Electioneering does not include material that a voter may bring with them into the voting booth to assist them with voting. While a poll worker may ask that a voter remove or cover up the electioneering item, a voter who does not comply with the request does not lose their right to vote. The person should be offered a regular ballot if otherwise qualified. However, the poll worker may file a complaint with the county election board, which could result in a Class A misdemeanor. So let me explain this to you. I often take a piece of paper like this, a little notebook paper, and I will write on it. I go down the line, and I will jot down the person's name and their political party, and then I'll make a little note off to the side, and I will tear it out and give it to my mother, so that when she votes, she knows the people. I'll come right back to you, Jackie. I'll tear that out and let her see that. If they come to you and say, you can't have that, that is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. And you are allowed to have that. Now, what you can't have is a big flyer, if someone hands you this going in, this JD thing and whatever, you can't have that. You can't have that holding up, showing it to everybody. You got to have that stuff down in your purse.
You can't wear your candidate's T-shirt.
You can't wear
your candidate's baseball hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of people understand this. A lot of people on election day are going to be going in. Hold on. A lot of people on election day are going to be going in are going to be wearing around MAGA stuff. When you go to vote, if you want to stand outside with your MAGA stuff, if you're in a great big long line, you can do that all that you want. But I'm telling you, once you get into the chute, you cannot have that stuff on. So please, for the love of God, just take the hat off, wear it around all day long, be a walking billboard for your candidate, wear your Harris, wear your Trump, wear your I hate everybody.
Rainwater.
Bilbrey's the bomb, rainwater, wear whatever you want to wear, but don't wear it to vote.
All of those that she has in there are in the duck for you.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Because what people are going to do is they're going to wear it to vote. Then they're going to get inside the chute and people are going to tell them, hey, you got to leave. You got to take your shirt off. And people are going to be like, screw you. I know my right. I got a First Amendment right. I can do this. No, not on election day, not inside the thing. You cannot. So just avoid the process. Avoid that process altogether. Go vote. Put your shirt back on and campaign all day long everywhere you go. But you cannot do it inside the polling place. But what you can do is you can carry a piece of paper in that tells you, cheat sheet for yourself if you need it. Okay. Getting back to this real quick. Cell phones and other electronic devices. Voters may use cell phones, cellular telephones, and other electronic devices in the polling place as long as electioneering or loud, disruptive conversations do not occur. Don't be on your phone talking to people about who you're going to be voting for. If you've got earbuds and you're going to want to watch something as you're standing in a long line, no harm, no foul. Don't turn the political spotlight on and listen to my loud house mouth in line, disrupting everybody. You can't do that. If you want to take a picture of your ballot, you want to take a picture of your machine right there, you can do that. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. You absolutely can. Now, I wouldn't be picking the phone up and videoing everybody around the room. You cannot do that. Don't do that. There's no reason to do that. But you can video your thing. So keep that in mind. Next, no voter should be turned away from the polls for failing to provide photo ID. This is very important. When you go to vote, take your driver's license card, take your state ID card, take your passport, okay? Don't take your Marsh card. Don't take your library card. Don't take your police ID. Don't take your military ID. Take your take your state issued ID card. Take your passport. Make sure you've got it there. But if something has happened and you get there and you don't have it and you've lost it, do not let them turn you away. You can fill out a provisional ballot, which holds your ballot, holds your vote, and then you've got a time period where the next day you need to go get your license or find it or whatever, and then you need to hightail it to the clerk's office. I would always tell everybody, if you go to vote on election day and you don't have your driver's license, call me and we can help you walk through that, because they a lot of times will make people think they can't vote. That's not true. You can vote a provisional ballot that you can then take care of after the fact. In some polling places, the 50-foot chute is not possible. Ask your county election board how to proceed. And listen, basically, this is just a common sense thing. You'll be able to tell where they are and where you should and shouldn't be doing things at. Just go with the flow and use common sense about it. That's important. The following individuals may assist a voter if requested to do so. The voter may designate anyone to assist them, including a relative or a friend. However, a voter may not designate the voter's employer or an officer of the voter's union or a union representative. That can't happen. Okay. HAVA accessibility grievance procedure and a toll-free hotline. A toll-free grievance hotline exists for voters to express concerns about polling places accessibility and limitations. The number is down there at the bottom, and you can get this. All this information should be posted in each polling place too. And this is about absentee voting in person on election day. Okay. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Load up so I can see. If a voter appears at the polling place on election day to vote, but the voter's name has already been marked on the poll list as having voted in an absentee ballot, okay, or the information provided by the county election board indicates that the voter has returned an absentee ballot to the county election board. In general, the voter is not entitled to vote a regular ballot. So if you voted by mail, or if you walked in and voted, you're not going to be able to vote twice. So you gotta know what you've done there. Okay. However, a voter may surrender their absentee ballot enclosed in the absentee envelope to a precinct official to vote in person. So, for example, if you have a mail-in ballot and you have not done it, you've not mailed it in, you've not done anything, and you want to say, all right, I didn't do this, I didn't get it back in time, I just want to go on election day and vote, take your mail-in with you, give it to them, and let them mark canceled on it, and then they can allow you to vote. Okay? So that's important. And then, yeah, that's the last thing. So, that's that. Getting back to, okay, this is very important. Real quick, this is important. Polling place hours. No precinct election official may leave the polling place until after the canvass of voters have been taken, or ballots are not counted in the precinct until after the election supplies have been prepared for return to the county election board. The polling day hours must remain open continuously from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you get there and your shit is not open, you need to be calling and letting somebody know. Call and let somebody know. Get a hold of me. And I'm nobody. All I'm going to do is call your clerk's office. I'm going to get it done. But just forego me, call your clerk's office if you want. But if you don't know what to do and you don't know what to say, call me and I can help you with that. The inspector, or this is important. The inspector announces the close of the polls at 6 p.m. The inspector or other individual designated by the circuit court clerk documents the names of the person waiting to vote, stamps the hand of each voter in line, or stands immediately behind the last voter who may vote. Those voters must be permitted to vote at a regular ballot if otherwise qualified. Note, the hours of the polling location or vote centers are extended due to court order. Please review Chapter 7. So there are some situations where the hours may be extended, and the reason the hours would be extended is because they didn't get started on time. There was a breakdown.
Yeah. Hasn't that happened in Delaware County, Kristopher?
All the time. All the time. It happens in Madison County every election. It happens in Henry County. It happened in Randolph County maybe once or twice a couple of years ago, I remember, but Randolph County is normally pretty good. Hey, while we're talking about all this crazy stuff, there's 8 days left. Technically like 7 and some hours, but because it's like what it is, it's 8 days. When you wake up tomorrow, it'll be 7 days. It is what it is. We get what's going on here. So 8 days left, folks. That's like 1 week and 1 day, man. Tomorrow it'll be like woo, woo, woo. After tomorrow, we're gonna be like under a week, man. It's coming, whether we want it to or not. Hey, let me briefly get back to answer Jackie's question. When I kind of flippantly said that all government people are dumb, what groups of people are you referencing? Just pretty much all of them. Look, I don't have a whole lot of faith in a lot of these people. Maybe that makes me a bad guy or a bastard or an asshole, but I'm telling you, the longer and longer and longer I'm involved in this, the less people I am having faith in. Hearing what the government decided today based on the situation in Vigo County, it lowers my opinion of these people a little bit more. Let me tell you something else going on. So the gentleman that we talked about a couple weeks back, his name is Larry Savage. We've had him on this. No, I don't believe we've actually had him on the show. I was going to say we've had him on the show. I don't believe that's actually true. We have highlighted him before. We have highlighted him talking at meetings or things, but I don't believe we've actually ever had him on the show. He's from Madison County. He was the bigger guy in the public meeting a couple weeks ago in Madison County that had the hoodie on, that walked up to the machines, that looked around, that was talking to him. He saw there was a ballot that just basically all it wasn't anything major, just a couple pieces of printer paper that had the names and the offices of everybody, and it says at the top, sample ballot. And he looked it over. They're standing there. He thought that for whatever reason, like, oh, these are for us, we can take these home. They've got sample ballots printed everywhere. He folded it up, stuck it in his pocket, and took it home. He's personally known the Madison County clerk for years. When they noticed that something was wrong, they could have talked to everybody in there, realized who was there, who wasn't there, who had left, and pretty quickly deduced what happened. All they would have needed to do, literally all they would have needed to do, is go watch the video and see. You can clearly tell in the video what happens. And it's stupid. Instead of doing that, they involved the police. The police wrote up a search warrant. They went and bothered a judge. They got a judge to sign a search warrant. They go to Larry's house, and they're like, we got to serve the search warrant. Larry complies. He gives them the thing. He's like, hey, look, I didn't know. I thought that this was free. I thought it was a public test. We were there, and, it was what it was. He complied. Well, those nasty, dirty, no good sons of bitches, however you want to say it, assholes, they formally charged him today with felony crimes and have issued a warrant for his arrest. And I'm pretty sure he's either currently in the position of turning himself in, or he will be turning himself in the morning or something. I don't know exactly what the deal is there, but it's not like he's not fighting. I mean, he wants to fight this legally, but he's not. I don't think that he's formally, I don't think that he's on the run. He's not pulling a Steve Sumner. Let me put it to you that way. All right. He's going to stand up, take it like a man, and fight it the way that he needs to fight it. Let me tell you, them doing that disgust me as a former law enforcement officer. I am disgusted to no end. To hell with Rodney Cummings for doing that. And Andrew Hanna, if Andrew Hanna was involved with this, I'm sorry, but you don't need a seat at the prosecutor's desk when it becomes your turn. Rodney needs to leave the office as soon as possible. You need to leave the office as soon as possible. And we need to get something else going on there. What happened in that situation was complete and utter nonsense. Now, would I have taken that paper? No, but Larry hasn't been doing this for 100 years. He's just starting, but I could see any number of people making that same situation, that same deal, and thinking, oh, look, sample ballots for us. So I'm appalled at what they're doing to him. Worst yet is they're attempting to make him a felon over this. And let me tell you why they're doing that. Because he has a loud voice. He has stood up and spoke out. He is fighting back against what they're doing. And he's not happy with what's happening. Let me tell you, he is currently a precinct committee person over in Madison County. He won his precinct committee race. Okay? He won his race. That means he's a precinct committee person. Well, you know what happens if now being charged doesn't matter anything, but you know what happens if they convict him with a felony? He's no longer a PC chairman or a precinct committee person. That's disgusting. They're trying to make it to where he cannot hold office. He cannot run for office. They're trying to invalidate him. They're trying to tie this back to Catherine and to others, I'm sure. And this is sick and disgusting. And he needs our thoughts and our prayers. He needs everybody's, involvement in this. This is gross. This is an absolute mischaracterization of what's happened here. and I think they love it. I think, to be honest, I think they love it. He was charged in Madison County Circuit Court 6 with one count of theft, a misdemeanor, which would be conversion, and okay, that's a misdemeanor. He's charged with destroying or misplacing a ballot. He didn't destroy anything. He moved a ballot. I guess he misplaced it, but they got it back. That's why I'm pissed off. The crap about making people do extra nonsense in line, that's the reason I'm pissed off. I've been to these voting vote center training, vote precinct training things, and I'm telling you, you've got the least competent people trying to teach new people how to do what they need to be doing, and it's all a joke. It is all a joke. So I'm absolutely sickened by that. And then the only other thing I want to talk to you guys about tonight, the last thing that I want to I want to chat about is this the situation that's ongoing currently in the weird group, the Political Project Uncensored. That's Troy Tackett's group. And so a person wrote, "Shame on this man." And what they did was they showed a picture of Harold Mason. Okay. And they wrote, "Shame on this man, City Councilman District 6. What he did was to target 3 city employees and eliminate their salaries. It was politically motivated. He should be ashamed of himself. No public official should be publicly targeted. No public official should publicly target city employees. City Councilman Harold Mason Jr. also amended the city budget to remove the salary for the 3 positions: deputy mayor, deputy controller, and city communications director. It was approved by a vote of 6-3 with no discussion." All right, we talked about this during the council meeting thing on Monday. The council had done this. All right. Then we get the usual suspects. Fran Tucker jumps on to say, "I thought he was a strong, godly man. I trusted what he said. I was happy when he got elected, expecting his decisions would not be based on the political god, but in doing the right thing. Such a huge disappointment. If you're a person who believes and trusts in God, then you should vote accordingly to what you know is right, not what's political or godliness at the time. So sad." And then Lindsay Corey Bory Fink says, "Definitely have been Kyle Temple would have definitely have been a better council person. He would have represented the city of Muncie well." Listen, are we saying that this man is not godly because he voted differently than what like Fran Tucker would have wanted him to? I didn't know having the communications director or the deputy controller or deputy mayor was specifically a Christian thing. That blows my mind. Then we get someone in here. Thank God this person has a little bit of sense. Ryan New says, it seems as if he targeted 3 positions, not 3 people. People happen to be in those positions because he proposed the budget cuts, and elimination does not mention that, does not mean that he's a godly man or not. Fran, you yourself are a religious person. You would know, he's talking about capitalization. Some things from the right are as dumb as and ignorant just as things from the left. And then Fran tells him he makes no sense. And this thing goes on and on and on. You've got people in here. Ryan says, what in the world are you talking about? These people or individuals were not attacked. The positions were. Some positions created under the administration as well as under the previous administration. I'm friends with one of them whose position is being voted against. I sure don't believe that it was personal against her. I do feel that it's against the position. Yes, there was corruption under the previous administration. That is not happening with this vote. I'm not sure which synapses may be misfiring for you. Which Shireen Wegley says, none of these 3 positions are even remotely new. They have all been around for decades. Well, that's not correct. I mean, it is and it isn't. So the deputy mayor position has been around a long time, but it was unfunded after McShirley. It was unfunded. And from there on, they didn't have, there was no deputy mayor. It was Ridenour who went to the council and asked for them to fund to fund the deputy mayor for in 2020 for the 2021 year. Absolutely insane. So that happened. It's also important to understand that Amber Green's job, the communications director, that was never a position. They essentially, what they did is they took parts of one job and parts of another job, and they took those away and they created a third position. So Sarah Beach under Dennis Tyler was the HR director. She kind of, in a roundabout way, acted as the deputy mayor in some aspects. She also did record requests, and she also put out press releases. And that was how things were ran. Then you had Roger Overby, who was a contract employee, who then I think they moved into a full-time employee, and he did the video recording, and that was it. Well, when Dan came into power, he created a communications position, and he made that person handle all the press releases and the media side of things. However, he still kept on the position of like the Roger Overby position as a contract employee, and he gave that to Mark Slusher. And so when she says that, like, oh, these have always been there, that's not exactly true. To my knowledge, the deputy controller position was absolutely created out of thin air. I do not believe that it was... he's nuts. They created it. Not only did he create it, but he made it to where it was not a mayoral appointment. He created it to where after he filled it, the person he filled it with could be fired for cause, but it was no longer a mayoral appointment. so that Wegley would still have a job, even if and when Ridenour no longer had that job. Basically, any time that position is filled, it will be filled until that person either retires or for other reasons finds a new job, whatever. The mayor can't fire that person. So I just want people to know that. You've got people going to town fighting over this and going back and forth and going back and back and back and forth. I want to say this for the record. I am not necessarily pro council. I'm not pro Ridenour. They all fit into those quote unquote dumb political folks. It just seems like people are not doing things for their positions. They're not doing things that serve the people. They're not doing things that serve the community. It's more like they are doing things that serve themselves and serve each other. And that is what pisses me off and I consider to be dumb. Because, all it takes is for us to get smart one of these times and send them a message. We're also kind of dumb because we don't do that. And we keep ourselves in a position where we're like, oh, well, we're going to vote for the Republicans again. That's worked out wonderfully. And we see how that works out. So it's not like we're all geniuses and they're dumb. We're all dumb. We all need to get better at this. Education has to be a first.
Just FYI, I looked in Indiana Gateway.
Yep.
And I cannot find a deputy controller position prior to 2021. There wasn't one in 2020, 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15. That was as far back as I went.
Yeah, I appreciate that because that's that is the truth. You didn't edit that. That's not edited. No one's trying to cover anything up. It is
been
what it is.
looking for the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I just looked up the word controller.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's very good. Absolutely. Well, so, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I mean, I don't know how people could see things any different. No one was going after. I'm not even 100% sure that Harold Mason knew the specific names of the various people that he was cutting. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he knew Ivy, and I'm pretty sure that he knew the deputy controller just because he was there so often. But I don't know. Very crazy. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode. We are going to be on tomorrow. We're going, I think, fingers crossed, I might have a little special thing for us tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. We also are trying to work out scheduling John Bartlett to come on. He is running against JD Prescott. And he's making a big push here at the end. So we're going to try to have him come on in the next couple days. So be looking for that. If you have information, please feel free to bring it to us. The only big news really out of the city today, they released a press release talking about the fire station stuff that we all did back last, whenever that was. The other thing I want to tell you guys is, Audie is working on trying to get me a list of contractors. Okay. So we're working on getting a list of contractors. I sent in an email, with a record request to the city today, asking for the, actual date and time, the email from Greg Martz and any other email communications between anyone and Greg Martz and any other contractors or the contracting list. So I sent that in. We'll see how long it takes me to get all of that stuff. Also, I did receive a record request from the health department today, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the special thing that we're going to do tomorrow, if I get the other thing in time, is we're going to go back over and we're going to cover again. We're going to finish up the Westell story, because I believe I will have the records from the county tomorrow. So keep your fingers crossed. If we do, we will cover that. If not, we'll cover it when we do get it, but I think that we should have it tomorrow. So keep that in mind. And if you want to hear something interesting, you'll want to definitely come back and listen to that, whether we do it tomorrow or later on. We'll keep you posted, but you'll definitely want to hear that, because it's going to be interesting. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Have a great. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday. Have a great Wednesday. Remember, wait a minute. Is today Monday? Yeah, today's Monday. Have a great Tuesday. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I knew that Monday was done today. So have a great Tuesday. Remember, as we're speaking here now, it's Monday the 28th, which means there are 8 days left. When you wake up tomorrow, it will be Tuesday, and there will be 7. So we are quickly winding it down here, folks. We will be back tomorrow at the exact same time at 9 p.m. Eastern. We will try to be on time tomorrow. You guys have a great one. God bless, and goodbye.